Yo, peep game. Time for me to do my picks for the NFC wildcard weekend games. And I'm going to start with the Packers at the Cowboys. And I got to give credit to the Packers making the playoffs. First year without Aaron Rodgers on their team. I do think they're ahead of schedule. I didn't think they'll make the playoffs this year. Maybe kind of scratch at the door a little bit, but I didn't think they would make it in. I thought only one team from the NFC North would make the playoffs, but hey, I stand corrected. So, gotta give credit to what the Packers did, and I gotta give credit to Dallas for sewing up the division, and they did what they needed to do in that final game against the Commanders. The Commanders are a bad team. The Cowboys are a better team than them, and they beat them down, beat them like a drum. But anyways, let me get into who I think will win this game. And one thing I gotta say, I know the Cowboys are undefeated at home this season, and to be honest, I think that's going to continue. The Packers again. I know they're a young team. They're starting to gel. LaFleur has proven that he's actually a good coach, especially when they're on that slump that they had, and Jordan Love was turning the ball over at bad times and things of that nature. And I got to give credit for Dak bouncing back after getting blown out by the Niners on Sunday Night Football, and he's he's answered the call. Even games that they lost after that, like the Bills game, I think that was just weather, and Cowboys aren't the best running team. So I do think the Packers can possibly take advantage of the fact that the Cowboys aren't the best running team. But CD Lamb's been on a tear this year, and Dak has thrown the most touchdowns this season. I know if you look at their strength of schedule, I know the Cowboys were able to beat up on the Commanders and the Giants, and they beat Philadelphia at home. So when the Cowboys were home, but yeah, I don't think the Packers have a chance. I do not think this game is going to be close. If I had to predict the score, I'm gonna probably say it's going to be something like 38-17. I think Jordan Love's going to maybe throw a pick or two, possibly one pick six. I do think Dak might throw a pick, possibly, just pressing because I just remembered the Packers got one of the best corners in Alexander in the game, so I'm sure he's going to be traveling on CD Lamb. And whoever that corner is going to be guarding Brandon Cooks, yeah, good luck. Good luck if you're not a speedy guy or you don't get hands on Cooks. But like I said, I think the score is going to be 38-17, and Dallas is going on to the divisional round. Now for the next game, in my opinion, this was the most interesting playoff matchup, in my opinion. Like just overall. I mean, I thought the Texans and Browns was going to be interesting, and I was wrong about that. Anyways, but this one, I believe, even before that game happened, I thought this is the most interesting game. The Lions are not the same Lions, but sometimes when expectations start coming towards them, they turn back into the Lions of old. So they are at home. This is the first time they have won their division in 30 years. I was a child the last time they won the division. Barry Sanders, one of the greatest running backs of all time, was on that team. And the Rams were similar boat that Green Bay was in. Were not playing well. And of course, Cooper Cup was out for some time, but them getting Nakua in the draft, that was a hell of a draft pick because it's panning out. And this game is gonna be very interesting. I do think it's gonna be high scoring because it's indoors. Detroit's gonna be rocking, and this one I can see going either way. I can see it going either way. I do think Dan Campbell is a hell of a coach. He is the right coach for that Lions team. And man, this one's hard to pick. I think the score is going to be at least in the 30s. I wouldn't surprised if it got to the 40s. But I don't really the Lions defense I'm iffy on. I think they're very opportunistic, but I don't think they're locked down. And the Rams a similar thing. I don't really think they're necessarily locked down, but their defense is a smidge better. If I had to pick, man, Lions, as far as this being a great NFL story and you guys winning your first playoff game in over 30 years, and to do it in Detroit would be a hell of a football story. From a story standpoint, I would love to see the Lions win that game. However, I don't I'm not sure, man. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game, but I do think it's gonna be close. I'm probably gonna predict something like 35, 31. I think I'm gonna roll with the LA Rams winning that game. I mean, again, I could see it going back and that one being in between. That could be a pick 'em. It also could be a blowout either way. But I'm leaning Rams. Shoot, I could change my mind, but I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna pick the Rams to beat the Lions 35-31. And now for the last game, the Eagles at the Buccaneers. Now look, let me tell you something. The the NFC South is the worst division in football. My God, that division is horrendous. The one shining thing about the NFC South is we actually saw Baker Mayfield actually look like a good NFL quarterback. So I don't know what he did in the off season and whatnot, but you gotta give him credit because I mean he has taken a lot of criticism, especially from people who don't care for him or care for his antics. But he has definitely turned it around. And let's just say the Bucks let him walk, or I don't know if he's on a 1 year deal, but let's say a free agency comes up and he's out of Tampa, he'll pick up a job somewhere, you know. So I got to give him credit for turning that around. And the Eagles, man, the Eagles started what 10-1, and then they only won one game after that. Insane decline. And the problem with the Eagles, they have no identity. You know, when you look at the NFC teams, you know, they have an identity. You know, the Niners, they want to run the ball, stop the run to open up everything else for their offense and defense, respectively. The Cowboys, they're going to air it out. They're going to rush the passer. The Lions, they want to rush the passer, be opportunistic, and show grit when they need to. The Rams, quintessential West Coast offense, want to get to the quarterback, move their defensive linemen around, and things of that nature. So those teams, you know, I named out and things of that nature. They have those. The Baltimore Ravens want to sideline to sideline with their linebackers, stop the run, create turnovers. So those teams and the teams in the NFC, they have an identity on defense or in offense. The Eagles don't have that. And even the Bucks have an identity. They blitzing. Their defense, they are coming after the quarterback and they playing man. You know what they're going to do, you know. So for the fall off of the Eagles, and as bad as the Eagles have looked, and AJ Brown is out, I think Devontae Smith is questionable. But the problems that have arisen with the Eagles these past 6 weeks, and even before, with them with the close games and the turnovers that Jalen Hurts has had this year compared to last year, I'm sorry, man. I gotta go with the Bucks. I gotta go with the home team. I know I went home team, home team, home team. I know. Well, no, I didn't know. The Rams is playing away. I apologize. So like I said, I'm going with the Cowboys over the Packers, and I'm going with the Rams over the Lions. And for the Eagles at Bucks, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be 31-24, and I'm going with the Bucks on that one. Be easy, everybody. Deuces.